girl can cook. She got the recipe. She got what you need. That girl can cook. That black girl magic. I gotta have it.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And today, guys, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm about to show y'all how to make seafood mac and cheese. Yo, I'm about to show y'all, okay? So grab your ingredients and let's get started. All right, everybody. So look, first for mac and cheese, we have to boil our pasta, right? So I'm using 2 cups of chicken broth here, and then I'm gonna use about 6 cups of water. Now the only reason I'm showing you guys this part is because I am using the chicken broth, but if you want to just boil it per package instructions using just water, that is totally fine, okay? But if you want to do it the way I'm doing it, go ahead and bring your chicken broth / water to a boil before you add the salt. And then you want to add a generous amount of salt. Yeah, it's going to be salty, but the pasta needs it. And everybody should know this by now, okay? So I am using 1 pound of elbow macaroni. That is a 16-ounce box. And this is the semolina flour pasta. It doesn't really make a difference if you get this kind or not. But whatever pasta you get, make sure you cook it according to your package instructions, because they are sometimes different, all right? Once you get that cooked, remove it from the heat, strain it, and set it to the side. All right. Now, I'm going to shred up some cheeses here. I have 2 8-ounce blocks of the sharp cheddar cheese. I'm not going to show you how to shred it up all this time, y'all. I'm just grating it over a bowl, nice big bowl. And I did 2 of them. And then now I'm adding a 7-ounce container, or you can get an 8-ounce of the Gouda cheese. Now I found this Gouda in Aldi, so if you're near Aldi, I guarantee you they have this kind. It's very hard to find shredded Gouda. At least for me it is sometimes. But if you can find your cheese shredded, you can do that if you want to. I'm shredding my own because they melt better. Now, in a separate bowl, once you get your Gouda and your sharp cheddar mix, go ahead and shred up some mozzarella and set that to the side, okay? You'll see why we're using that separately. Now, for our meat that we're going to be using, there's a lot of prep work in this dish. I'm going to be making a seasoning blend. The main component here will be 3 tablespoons of Old Bay seasoning, and I know that's already blended, but I want to enhance the flavor a little bit. So to the 3 tablespoons, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a ½ teaspoon of black pepper, as well as a ½ teaspoon of ground mustard. Yep, that's what I said. And 1 teaspoon of seasoned salt or Cajun seasoning. If you wanted to have a nice little kick, add the Cajun. If you don't care for the kick, add the seasoned salt. And for a little bit of color, I'm going to add in a ½ teaspoon of paprika and go ahead and give that a mix and set it aside. Now we don't have to worry about adding all these different random seasonings. We can just measure out what we're going to use and call it a day. So here I have a pound of shrimp. This is raw. It's deveined. The tails are off. And it's peeled, okay? Please, whatever you do, do not serve anybody a seafood mac and cheese with the tails on the shrimp now. Please don't do that, okay? Add you a tablespoon of that seasoning blend and set it to the side. That's all you have to do. Now here, we're going to be adding lobster into this dish as well. I'm not adding a whole lot of lobster, y'all, because I ain't got a whole lot of money. So I only bought 2 lobster tails, and that's just how it's going to be today. But you can add as much or as little as you would like to. That's up to you, girlfriend or homie. I mean, it really is up to you. But here, you want to go ahead and cut the shell. I cut the back side first. It's nice to go ahead and kind of roll it up a little bit. That'll make it a little bit easier to cut. And then once you do that, flip it over, cut the other side straight down the middle. And then we're going to take a very sharp knife and just run it through to split that lobster tail in half. Now this is just a split method, you guys. If you want to butterfly it or do other types of things, you'll have to save that for another video. But go ahead and split it down the middle. You're going to open it up and you're going to see some dirty stuff. That's why I don't like lobster right here. You're going to see the vein. Go ahead and remove that. Take it out, pull it out, okay? Rinse it and clean it very well. All you have to do is just rinse it off of there. Make sure there is no grittiness, none of that. Clean it off of there and clean your workspace too, so you don't have lobster poop everywhere. We don't want that. And then we're going to take 1 teaspoon of that seasoning blend and we're going to season the meat of the lobster tail. Now if you would like to take yours out of the shell, you can do that. I left it in the shell because I'm going to use 2 of those pieces for a garnish. All right. But if you don't want to, that's up to you. But you can take it out, cut it up, and season it that way. Now, we have all our prep work out the way. It's time to cook. So I have some Kerrygold herb butter here. I put in a tablespoon of that, and I'm gonna cook up all my shrimp. Now earlier, you see the shrimp was very dry, and that's because I wanted it to be able to sear and not boil. Sometimes when there's too much liquid on it, y'all, it'll start making all that liquid and water. I don't need all that. Okay, I want to sear it, get a nice sear on it. So I'm doing this in batches as well, so we can get that nice sear and it don't just cook up a big watery mess. All right, so cook it for about 1 to 2 minutes per side. If you're using larger shrimp, you may need to cook it a little bit longer, but y'all be careful about consuming it because it may be slightly undercooked, because I am going to recook this in the oven again. Okay, but cook your shrimp, pull it out. If you're doing a lot of shrimp, go ahead and do that in batches, and then add in your lobster tail. Just cook your lobster tail right there with another tablespoon of butter. And here I just added a little bit of water because my pan was getting kind of dry, and I didn't want my lobster to be dry, so I just needed a little bit of moisture. And you're gonna cook that lobster the same way you cook that shrimp. It's pretty much similar as far as the meat consistency, but you know, it's not gonna take long. So go ahead and pop it in there for about 2 minutes. Once it's done and the shell has turned completely red, you know it's done, you know it's ready. Go ahead and pull it off and set it on that plate with the shrimp. That's all you gotta do. Look at that, just like that. Set it on the plate, and y'all, that's it for our meat. So now we can work on our cheese sauce. If you've seen any of my mac and cheeses, you know that I do a cheese sauce. And here to this pan, which is over low heat, we're gonna add 3½ cups of heavy whipping cream. Not half and half, not milk, not pet milk, not carnation milk, none of that. Heavy whipping cream, okay? And you want to give it a chance to kind of warm up, but do not let this boil, y'all. If you let it boil, it may separate. And to this mixture, once it has warmed, we're going to add in 3 cups of our cheese mixture, the Gouda as well as the sharp cheddar. That's why I mixed it together, because it's going in the same place. All right, so go ahead and add those 3 cups in. In between the cups, you want to make sure that you're whisking and melting the cheese. All right, make sure you whisk it and melt it. You may want a thicker consistency, you may want a thinner consistency. That's up to you. But if you follow the recipe, I whisk in between every addition of cheese. Now, I forgot to get some cream cheese, and that's okay, because players mess up too. However, if you do have cream cheese, add in 4 ounces of cream cheese. If you choose not to, just add in a handful of mozzarella and mix that in, and that's going to give us a little bit of a thicker consistency. After you get your cheeses in, add in a tablespoon of that seasoning blend to your cream sauce, and y'all, that's it. See, mixing up our seasonings, we put the hard part out the way. Now it's time to assemble our macaroni. Now let me say this. If you would like to, you can go ahead and take your noodles and put them in the cream sauce. I don't know what it is, y'all, but I just like to add my noodles and then add the sauce on top of it. For some reason, it seems like they get too soupy when I add it into the sauce. It's just, I don't know. Even though I use up all the sauce, it just doesn't seem the same. So this is the way I like to do it. If you want to mix it ahead of time, you can. But add in half of your noodles. I did not add any butter to the skillet. I just added in my pasta. And once you get enough cream on top of that to make it nice and creamy, add in your lump crab meat. I just took a little bit of that seasoning and put it on my lump crab, and I added in half of the lump crab meat. And then I added in some of that shrimp. And I'm just tucking the shrimp so you know it'd be a nice little surprise in every bite. That's all. And then I added a little bit of more cream. And I almost forgot the lobster tail, y'all. Almost forgot it, but here it is. It's in there. Go ahead and add that in there. You can break it up, chop it up, however you want to do it. Add it in there. And once you get to that, once you get done adding all your meats, go ahead and add in half of that shredded mozzarella cheese. All right. Remember, we got to have some mozzarella underneath the macaroni so we have some good cheese pool. That's why I put it in the middle. That's why it had to be separate. All right. Add some more macaroni, whatever is left. I did use all of the macaroni and I used all of the cream sauce. Okay. Add that in there, whatever left. Add your cream sauce on top again. And then add in your shrimp and your rest of your crab meat. And then this final layer, we're going to add the rest of the remaining sharp cheddar and Gouda. You should have about a cup left, okay? So go ahead and add that on top. Add it however you want, as light or as little. If you want to throw some breadcrumbs on there, honey, go ahead and do that too. This ain't Southern mac and cheese. This is actually seafood mac and cheese. So you want to put you some breadcrumbs on there, I ain't going to be mad at you. I'm going to tell you just like this. I'm not even a fan of seafood mac and cheese. It's actually one of my most hated dishes in the world, you know, but we ain't going to talk about that. Anyway, go ahead and add some paprika as well as a little bit of that seasoning blend on top. And then we're going to bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then we're going to broil it for 2 minutes. And y'all, check that out. Look at that, bubbling, looking all good and delicious. Y'all, it's time to plate it up. And there you have it, guys. Your highly requested seafood mac and cheese, which was made out of labor and love because I absolutely can't stand it. However, I did share it with a surplus amount of people, and they had a lot to say about this delicious recipe. They said, good Lord, it's a good one. And I said, it must be. Because I always put a little extra love in the things that I don't like, which is weird. However, if you try this recipe out, I'll let you be the judge, okay? So, I want to thank y'all for watching. As always, thank you for tuning into my channel. And if you try any of my recipes for mac and cheese, then you know it's going to be a hitter, okay? A hitter and not a quitter. But thank y'all for watching. If you try it out, let me know down in the comments. And I'll see y'all next time in the next video. Bye!